Hey everybody, welcome to episode 151 of This Thing Working.
Welcome to the Texas Brief. Please share the show with all your friends and let them know about the Texas Brief. The Texas Brief comes out every Saturday on podcast only, just for our podcast audience. It's your special treat that we give you every single Saturday, so we really enjoy it.
And just remember, as always, these are our opinions, our assertions, and if you like the Texas Brief, tell your friends and share the show. And if you don't like the Texas Brief, hey man, tell your friends, share our show. Either way.
You know, and yesterday I was looking up, is this thing working, the Texas Brief, and all of our podcasts on many platforms. And so you can find us everywhere. Just type in, is this thing working? It's pretty cool.
Yep.
To find us.
It will pull up almost immediately.
Exactly.
Exciting.
Things that are happening in Texas, though. You know, over the week, an important Supreme Court of the United States ruling came out. Texas versus New Mexico. Texas AG's Ken Paxton's statement on the split decision that came out.
And this is what he says in his statement. He issued a statement responding to the split decision of the Supreme Court of the United States that grants the federal government even more authority over states and halts the agreement between Texas, New Mexico, and Colorado that would have secured vital water allotments for Texas farmers. Little history. In 2013, Texas sued New Mexico to enforce the equitable apportionment of the waters of the Rio Grande as agreed upon in the 1938 Rio Grande Compact. After nearly 10 years, the states reached an agreement acceptable to all states that would ensure Texas received a just water distribution. In 2023, the special master appointed by SCOTUS supported the state's agreement, saying, "It is difficult to envision a resolution to this matter that might be superior to the consent decree that Texas seeks." But however, in a 5-4 decision, the court has now rejected that agreement at the behest of the Biden administration, thereby allowing the federal government to interfere with agreements between the states and within their own jurisdictions.
So, folks, this is not a very good ruling on behalf of Texas, and I'm pretty sure, actually, the Attorney General goes on to say that he will continue to fight the good fight. So we will be keeping an eye on that and see what he tries to do next. But the next item that we're going to talk about here is one that got missed. There was a headline that got missed. 3 Baylor doctors relied on unqualified residents for risky heart surgeries at St. Luke's, the federal government alleges.
Yeah, Newsweek writes, federal officials on Monday revealed sweeping allegations against 3 prominent Houston heart surgeons, accusing them of using unqualified trainees to perform thousands of surgeries simultaneously over 7 years, a practice that harmed patients, inflated their own compensation, and created a $150 million windfall for their vaunted institution in the process, according to the court documents. Doctors Joseph Caselli, Joseph Lamalis, and David Ott allegedly left medical residents and fellows in operating rooms, in quotes, alone and without patients' knowledge during critical moments of complex heart surgeries from 2013 to 2020 at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center, according to a federal whistleblower lawsuit unsealed on Monday. The practice allowed them to perform 2 and sometimes 3 heart procedures at the same time, then fraudulently bill the government for all the operations, according to the lawsuit, which was filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Texas. The hospitals and its academic affiliate, Baylor College of Medicine, were aware of the practice and supported them by supplying trainees and operating rooms, the lawsuit said. St. Luke's, Baylor, and a medical practice group, Surgical Associates of Texas, PA, agreed to pay $15 million to settle the alleged violations of the False Claims Act and records laws.
You know, I wonder about this, though. You know, if they're a teaching hospital.
St. Luke's, Baylor, yes, they're a teaching hospital.
Because I'm just going back on my time of watching Grey's Anatomy. And, you know, I know this is, you know, out there and everybody, but everyone has seen that this happens, that they leave residents in there with other people, of course, and they have cameras.
Who's qualified?
I get what you're saying, but I also know that teaching hospitals have been known to do this. That's what they're doing, is teaching them heart.
Right. And who receives the compensation for this? The hospitals, and who? The physician,
the doctor,
surgeon,
who should be in there no matter what.
Exactly. That's the big problem, man. I would be scared to death to go into a hospital operating room and not see the surgeon that I've been talking to, dealing with, and getting prepared for this surgery. If I look up on my way into that operating room and I look up and see it full of residents and interns that are very unfamiliar faces to me, and I don't see my doctor in there, yeah.
How often do you see your doctor anymore, though?
But you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you're saying, but I also know what the article is not telling us. It's not telling us how many people passed away.
Exactly.
We don't know the percentages
how many were
harmed or anything. It's just telling us basic information and not giving us the whole story.
Exactly.
So we're going to keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
Because you never know with the media anymore. They don't tell you the whole story. So we're going to listen to the whole story. If this is what is going on, it's horrible. That's my opinion. It's horrible that my mother could have been in this surgery and someone else could have been taking care of her instead of her doctor.
Putting her life at even more danger. Exactly.
So our next story that we did talk about, and we actually put it out on a Thursday throwback show, and it's a video of Maria Bartiromo and Ken Paxton talking about the NGOs. Listen to this.
Now, there is a memo that's been going around at the border, and it's in Spanish, okay? And I want to show you this memo, because at the bottom of the memo it says, don't forget, in Spanish, don't forget to vote for Joe Biden. We need another 4 years of him. This flyer, the woman's name on the flyer is Gabriela Zavala, but she says she was shocked to see the memo because she didn't write the memo. What can you tell us about this memo? Because she says she didn't write the memo, and yet there's a memo at the border, which the illegals are reading in Spanish, and it says, go vote Joe Biden. What is this memo all about?
Yeah. Look, the memo speaks for itself. There's no doubt that this is the plan. It's to encourage these illegals to vote. They've given phones. They connect them to Social Security numbers. They connect them to voting in these states. And their job really is to come here and vote. And they're putting them in the right places, the right states. We don't know where they're putting the illegals, but I guarantee you it's in the crucial states. Joe Biden can't win this election without illegal voting. And this is the biggest threat to our democracy, or our republic, that I think we've seen since who knows when.
This is unbelievable. You're the Attorney General. I want to know what you can do about it. We're going to take a short break and come.
Yeah, and if you remember on our Thursday show, we revisited NGOs, and we brought a little timeline, a history of all the things that the NGOs have been doing, and you can see the pattern, and you can see what's been going on. And as far as this situation right here, I think it was episode 55 and 56, 54, 55, and 56 of our shows that we talked about this very thing, and we even had a video on that show of a conversation between Gabby Zavala and somebody else from the RCM, the Resource Center Matamoros, and they said exactly what he just said right here.
Yeah, and Maria goes on to say, well, she denies it.
Sure, she denies it, but it's there. It's there. We've heard it. We played it on Thursday. Go back and listen to our Thursday show.
And also, we have seen the flyer.
Yes.
With her name on it.
Exactly.
So go check out our Is This Thing Working? Throwback Thursday, and listen to the shows that we point out.
And our other topic for today was one of the biggest topics of the week, was the whistleblower, Dr. Heim, and Miss Sivage, and how the FBI came and harassed both of them, how they've indicted Dr. Heim on charges, basically just because the institution is mad and scared at him that he is exposing all the fraud and all the evil and all the crap that they're pulling.
And then we have our Attorney General, Ken Paxton, who everyone has been calling for his statement of what's going on here and how come he isn't standing up and helping this whistleblower. But he came out yesterday with a statement, and he said today the Texas Supreme Court upheld SB 14, a law protecting children from dangerous gender-confusing procedures by prohibiting puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and mutilative surgeries on minors. We will always defend children in Texas from these irreversible procedures. My office will use every tool at our disposal to ensure that doctors and medical institutions follow the law.
And that's what they weren't doing at Texas Children's Hospital, which was following the law.
So you're fixing to listen to a little piece of what the whistleblowers are going through and why this is very important that this came out, because Attorney General Kim Paxton is trying to do everything that he can to help. Here you go.
This was from our Monday show.
So check them out. Thank you to our sponsors and for you for clicking on the link below. Get you some Field of Greens. You'll feel better for it.
It's www.brickhousenutrition.com.
You know, according to a new whistleblower, doctors at Texas Children's Hospital were willing to falsify medical records and break the law to keep practicing gender-affirming care. Caught in a wave of ideological fervor, two of the hospital's prominent physicians, Richard Ogden Roberts and David Paul, cut corners and, according to the whistleblower, committed Medicaid fraud to secure funds for the hospital's child sex change program. And I'm reading out of Christopher Rufo. He wrote a backstory about the whistleblower, Dr. Heim, that we had talked about on Friday. So if you missed any of that, go listen to that right there. And this is kind of a part of the backstory, so you'll know how this started. He was the whistleblower that Christopher Rufo is talking about here.
This is a story of fanaticism, hubris, and murky business of transgender medicine. It would have remained hidden except for the courage of two people inside the hospital, a surgeon named Ethan Heim, who Denise just talked about, and a nurse who has now decided to come forward. That's Vanessa Sivage. If you remember back a show before that, we also talked about how the FBI came to her house, to her front door, to question her and intimidate her about all of this going on. So she's the other one that's involved in this.
Yes, and both have risked much to alert the public to the barbarism that is occurring at the nation's largest and arguably most prestigious children's hospital. Now, a reporter goes to interview these doctors.
Dr. David Paul and Dr. Richard Roberts, who were both there
at Texas Children's Hospital. Two doctors that are at the center of the Texas Children's Hospital Medicaid fraud investigation. They seem to be missing in action. Listen to this.
Is Dr. Paul in today? Paul, P-A-U-L. Dr. David Paul. He's not in at all today. Do you know when he'll be in again?
I do not. I'm not able to see anything featured before today is.
Got it. And lastly, Dr. Roberts, R-O-B-E-R-T-S.
What clinic for Robert?
Pediatric endocrinology, same clinic.
Not seeing anything on mine at all.
Okay, it doesn't show when he's going to be back in. Got it. All right, no, I appreciate that. I've also been speaking to several neighbors who know Dr. David Paul. He lives in this townhouse complex. We've been here several times now, and there's been virtually no movement. Neighbors confirmed that as well. We've rang his doorbell numerous times, and we're going to do it one more time. I'm also still trying to get in touch with Dr. Richard Roberts. He lives in this Houston townhouse complex. Neighbors say he hasn't been seen in days. In fact, when I first got here, his porch light was on, but as soon as I started snooping around, none of the lights went back on. Still hoping to get in touch with both doctors so I can get their side of the story. But at the rate we're going, the chances of that happening are slim to none. They're likely hiding somewhere or have simply skipped town.
Can you blame them at this point? I mean, really, can you blame them?
You kind of wonder about it, you know, because it obviously happened right after the DOJ unsealed the indictment against Dr. Heim in Texas. You know, they go to his house and beat on his door. Then all of a sudden he's being indicted, you know, for
blowing the whistle.
For blowing the whistle.
What's going on, because Paxton is the one that ordered this transgender clinic practices to be shut down. You know what I think? I'm like you. I think they're out hiding. I think I'm like Jonathan Cho. I think they're out hiding somewhere.
I do too. I wonder about that. You know, the whistleblower, Dr. Heim, he pled not guilty after being accused. This is what they're accusing him of. HIPAA violations over exposing a Texas hospital that was allegedly secretly conducting gender-affirming care on minors. So they're going to indict a whistleblower. Now, whistleblowers, if you remember, we've talked about this, they have protection. They have their own protection. But this government doesn't like this whistleblower coming out with stuff that they're involved in, and they're forcing on these hospitals. And they're going to accuse him of a HIPAA violation when I'm sure all that's redacted.
And the absurdity of it is, like you say, they're going to charge him with a HIPAA violation when actually what he's done is brought to light more corruption and more fraud by these guys. And instead, like we talked about the other day, instead of living in a right side world, not upside down world and clown world like we live in nowadays, when a whistleblower comes out and brings out breaking news about fraud and about these kind of things, instead of the system going after those doctors, they turn around and come after the whistleblower. And now the doctors are gone. That's why they are in hiding. Who's hiding them? Are they doing this on their own?
Or is the government hiding them? You know, the government's paid them a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll be keeping an eye on this and bringing this up. Going to be a crazy week, folks. So we're going to have breaking news, so much going on. There's also things going on here in Texas we will be talking about. So please stay tuned for this week, because we're going to be bringing up past shows to show you the timeline of what they're doing with NGOs. So we will be delving really deep into that in the coming days. So please stay tuned. It's going to be interesting. You know, I want to take the moment before we close today to contrast the whistleblowers that we just talked about. The 3 doctors that the government is looking into, and then the whistleblower here about the puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and mutilation surgeries that these doctors have been, doing that was against the law here in Texas. The whistleblower here is being indicted. The whistleblower in the 3 doctors that are being investigated is being protected. What is the difference than these 2 whistleblowers besides that they whistleblow unlawful actions?
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.